Today, we're going to talk about something huge, something that's hidden in plain sight. The authors Kevin Simler and Robin Hanson call it the elephant in the brain, and it's this really provocative idea that we are all, every one of us, walking around with a giant, unspoken truth about ourselves that we work really hard to ignore. So let's just jump right in with a question that gets to the absolute core of this. What if the story you tell yourself about why you do things isn't the whole story? I mean, what if there's a whole other, much deeper script running in the background of your mind? You know, the famous financier J.P. Morgan totally nailed it. He said, we've always got two reasons for doing anything. A good reason, that's the nice, socially acceptable story we tell everyone, and then there's the real reason. And that real reason, well, it's often more selfish, way more competitive, and it's something our brains have become experts at hiding. So in this explainer, we're going to try and unmask it. To really get why we hide our motives, we first have to understand the game we're all playing, whether we realize it or not. And that game, it's all about social status. See, our brains didn't just evolve to hunt and gather food. They evolved to navigate these incredibly complex social worlds. Just think about it for a second. A huge chunk of our brain power is dedicated to competing for mates, for status, for allies. We're constantly, and almost always unconsciously, trying to prove our value to the tribe. And hey, this is not just a human thing. Not at all. We see this all over the animal kingdom. Take primate grooming. On the surface, it's about hygiene, right? But it happens way more than is needed just to stay clean, because it's really about building trust and forging political alliances. Or look at these birds, Arabian babblers. They will literally fight each other for the chance to stand guard. It's not about pure selflessness. It's because being seen as a valuable helper shoots their status right up. And this brings us to a super important concept, signaling. Basically, it means that a lot of our actions aren't really about the action itself, but about what that action says about us to other people. Buying a fancy car isn't just about transportation, it's a signal of wealth. Getting a PhD isn't just about learning, it's a powerful signal of your intelligence and your persistence. We are all just broadcasting signals all the time. Okay, so if we're all just selfishly signaling to get ahead, why does it all feel so genuine? Why aren't we all just cynical manipulators? Well, this leads us to the most mind-bending part of the whole theory, the art of self-deception. It's a fair question, isn't it? If life is one big strategic game of signaling and jockeying for status, you would think we'd be consciously aware of it. But we're not, and there's a really, really good reason for that. So here's the key insight. Self-deception isn't a flaw in our mental software, it's a feature, it's a strategic tool. Because what's the most effective way to lie to someone else? It's to first lie to yourself. When you genuinely believe your own motives are pure, you don't give off those little telltale signs of a lie. You become a much more convincing advocate for your own self-interest. The evolutionary biologist Robert Trivers just put it perfectly with this quote. Our brains literally evolved to strategically hide our selfish motives from our own consciousness. It lets us chase our self-interest while we maintain this plausible story of virtue and doing good. The book uses this brilliant analogy for how this works. The press secretary. So imagine your brain has one. Deep down, a selfish motive drives you to do something. That's the real policy being made in the back room. Then the press secretary's job is to step up to the podium, look at what just happened, and spin it. It makes up a good reason, a counterfeit explanation that sounds noble and, most importantly, protects your reputation. Okay, so that's the framework. We're all playing a social game. We're using signaling to compete, and we use self-deception to hide the rules of the game even from ourselves. Now let's take this lens and apply it to some of our most cherished institutions and see what we find. Seriously, think about it. We spend absolute fortunes and years of our lives on higher education. The obvious answer is to learn, right? But is that the full picture? The good reason, of course, is learning and getting skills. But the real reason is signaling. A college degree is a very expensive, very hard-to-fake signal to employers that says, hey, I'm intelligent, I'm hardworking, and I'm willing to conform. The evidence for this? It's called the sheepskin effect. The pay bump you get from that final diploma is way bigger than what you get for the 3.5 years of learning that came before it. The credential itself is what really matters. All right, let's keep going. Let's apply this lens to another area. Charity. We say we give to help others, and man, it feels good to be generous. But what are we really signaling when we donate? And here we go again. We see this gap between the good reason and the real reason. The good reason is to help people.
But if that were our only motive, we'd all be effective altruists, right? We'd be researching which charities do the most good per dollar. But instead, most giving is about signaling how generous we are. We want to be seen giving, which is why we often prefer local, visible causes over more effective but distant ones. It's an advertisement of our own virtue.
And now for a truly enormous elephant in the room: healthcare. In the US alone, it's a multi-trillion-dollar industry. The obvious reason we spend all that money is to get healthy. But could there be something else going on? So the book proposes this idea of conspicuous caring. The idea is that medicine isn't just about healing, it's a powerful social ritual. When someone we love gets sick, we want to show them, and honestly everyone else, that we are doing everything possible. It's a demonstration of our loyalty and our support. We often prefer expensive, visible treatments over cheaper, more effective lifestyle changes because they're a much better signal of how devoted we are. And here's some shocking data that kind of backs this up. The famous Rand health insurance experiment gave one group of people free, unlimited medical care. And the result? For major health conditions, the improvement in their health outcomes compared to a control group was zero. Nothing. More medicine didn't equal more health. A lot of it was just a social ritual.
Okay, I know. This sounds like a pretty cynical take on human nature. Are we all just a bunch of selfish, self-deceiving primates? Well, not exactly. The point here isn't to become a cynic. The point is to become aware.
Recognizing our hidden motives doesn't make us bad people, it just makes us human. We're hardwired for this game. But by understanding the rules, we can actually start to play it better, more consciously, more honestly, and maybe even more effectively. The goal is to move from unconscious self-interest to a more enlightened self-interest.
So what do you do with all this? Well, there are 4 big takeaways. First, just awareness. Start spotting the signaling games being played all around you and by you. Second, humility. Recognize your own awesome capacity for self-deception. Third is growth. Now you can actually work to align your actions more closely with what you say you value. And finally, reform. We can build better institutions, better schools, better charities, better healthcare, if we're just honest about what really motivates people.
And that's really the ultimate question this whole thing leaves us with. You can't really unsee the elephant in your own brain. So now that you know it's there, what are you going to do about it? How is this knowledge going to change the way you see yourself and the world?